Hey everybody, this is Jen Keenan at the Four Squares Residential Group coming to you with my Love the Way You Live video series. And this month I am so happy to have with me Adriana Picard from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Yay!
Yeah, this is my first foray into like the upper northwest part of the country. I've never been to Idaho. All I know about Idaho is that you're known for potatoes. So I'm sure there's much more to Idaho than
Yes.
that. So you need to enlighten us, our audience, about Coeur d'Alene.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks so much, Jen, for that intro. But yes, we do have that misconception that we came up here to Idaho to grow potatoes. Not that is certainly takes place like in the middle of Idaho, in the southern Idaho. But up here in Coeur d'Alene, we're actually in the Panhandle. We're about an hour south of the Canadian border. We are about an hour from the Montana border on one side and about 20 minutes from the Washington border. So we literally are in the Panhandle up here. We have gorgeous mountain ranges. We have lots of lakes, rivers, a lot of outdoor activity. And so that's the big draw for a lot of people coming to this area.
So I know when we talked the other day, one of the things I mentioned is that, when I talk to agents in other markets, they don't understand how here in Massachusetts, like we can be in 5 states in a very short period of time. And I think that's a very relatable thing for anybody who's moving. So I think, having like, you can touch other states from Coeur d'Alene is an awesome thing. Cause I know we're used to that. And we're also used to driving to Canada.
Oh,
So,
right.
to have that weekend away or whatever, like that is something that it's like a rite of passage here.
It's so true. Within an hour and a half, you can go from Washington to Idaho all the way into Montana and back, so yeah, so it is a
Yeah.
huge perk, having the close proximity to all of that. So
I'm going to share my screen real quick because I have the map up just so people can just see real quick kind of the area that we're talking about. I always joke like I'm such a map nerd, so maybe some people watching this are like, Jen, I can Google this myself. I don't need to see it, but here I am, the map nerd. So here's Idaho as a state, and you're up here. Well, here you can see Spokane, Washington, and Montana over here. So yeah, I mean, just to give some perspective of how close to Canada you are, but yet, in a metropolitan area.
Exactly. We kind of have the best of both worlds here. And our little downtown here in Coeur d'Alene is growing a little bit. If you want to go see some great like a Gonzaga game or something of that nature, you can go into Spokane or go into their downtown for a concert, something like that. So I loved being a little bit closer to a city center that was a little bit bigger to see some, have some great venues, and then also like go to concerts and things of that nature to have some of that fun nightlife, city life, if you will, too. So
entertainment for sure. And I think the other thing I know that surprised me the other day when we spoke to get ready for this interview is that you mentioned that you have lakefront property and water views. And I think, I know personally for me, and maybe this is just me being naive, I don't think waterfront when I think Idaho. I mean, of course there's a million lakes, right? I immediately went to the ocean in my head, but look at this huge body of water here that is just beautiful.
Yes, so that is our Coeur d'Alene Lake here in town. My office is actually where I'm at right now. It's right across the street. Like if I looked out the window, I would see the beautiful lake there. So it's just a stunning area. If you're at all familiar with Lake Tahoe and what that terrain looks like, it's very comparable to that. So as well as the prices along the lake as well. So we're seeing that. And what I do love is here over that you have your maps up here, your Google Maps, that little moose, there's about 5 different ones of those all around town here, and they're all just sprinkled in through like by the resort, by all of our hiking trails, and then literally right across the street from my office we have one of those little moose. So it's kind of a fun little something that people always remember about our area too, which is pretty cute.
That's so funny. Sometimes you will have like codfish around in downtown, if you're downtown Boston. So I love that when cities have those little interesting things that, if you're out walking around, where if you're there to visit or if you're there to house hunt, like, oh, let's find the moose and see where they're at.
And now it's fun because now I see it on Facebook with other friends that even come to visit from out of the area. And all of a sudden you'll see that little moose in their picture on Facebook or something. And you're like, oh, you were clearly in downtown Coeur d'Alene, which is always fun. Now I actually know where it's at.
Right.
So,
all right.
yeah.
So if someone is thinking about moving to Coeur d'Alene and they're thinking about house hunting, what are some things that they should know or be aware of? Let's talk a little bit about pricing and types of houses.
So you know what, I think the biggest thing that I really like to chat with, especially buyers, like even during my buyer consultation, obviously we explain, just the area and our different, whether it's Coeur d'Alene or Post Falls or Hayden, the different locations. But I think the biggest thing that I always like to be super upfront with my clients is with, I share with them what our market has done in the last year, and we have seen a 35% increase year over year. So I think that often the misconception about Idaho is, you know what, I'm going to get so much more bang for my buck up there, and that's just not the reality anymore. Last year, we were seeing our average price at about 382. Right now, we're right at about 525,000. So that's something that I really like to keep in perspective for clients that I'm working with, that if you guys were all thinking about it last year, we really need to talk about what our market has done here in the last year.
Wow, that's amazing growth. And do you think it's mostly folks coming to reload permanently? Is it second homes? Is it like, tell me about who's buying?
Okay, so our major feeder markets of who is buying, so we're seeing a lot of people come in from Washington over in Seattle area. That's about a 4-hour drive. So we're seeing people that can, we had a lot of firefighters, a lot of nurses, things of that nature, that can be here for 3 days in the week and then do a quick short drive, if you will, over into Seattle, so we're seeing a lot of people doing that. We also have a ton of remote workers coming in from California, which is really allowing people, and 2020 changed all of this, right?
Of course, right.
People are really being able to choose where they have always wanted to live and actually choose, destinations in their new homes, if you will, based on, hey, I can work from anywhere. Let's go to Idaho. So we're seeing a ton of people just remotely working. Yes, we do have a lot of second home owners up here, but that's really gone down in the last year as we're seeing, people just move up here as their primary residence.
Yeah. And, and that is, just to put some context for folks that may watch this later, we're shooting this December 2021. So when we're talking about the market changes, that's what we're talking about. And, and the reason this video series, spurred to me was for that exact reason. And people now have the opportunity to work remotely, and they can, depending on their employer, maybe work anywhere, not only in the country, but in the globe. And so to have, you here as a resource for Coeur d'Alene and other folks around the country, that's what I wanted to put out there to my friends and family who are going to watch this, because you don't have to go at it alone. And, if I can't be with you physically here in Greater Boston, I have resources out there for you, so that you're not kind of starting from scratch with a stranger. And, we have a lot of tech here in Greater Boston. We have healthcare and biotech. And certainly we have a lot of education, universities, and it's how, our markets are very mirrored to each other. And I think, folks would certainly be very happy living in Coeur d'Alene from Greater Boston, and probably real easy transition.
Especially climate wise.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
I know, for all those people thinking about going to a warmer state, nah, come on, you're a hardy New Englander.
Calm down.
To Idaho.
Don't you want right.
So you want to do some show and tell? You want to look at some properties? Okay, I made you, you should be able to share your screen.
Okay, here we go.
So in my county, in Middlesex County, our average sale price is $700, give or take. We have some towns that are more expensive than others. It's the biggest county in our state. So, I like to kind of use that as a comparison point for other markets, just to put some context in whether somebody wants to downsize or make a lateral move in terms of pricing and square footage. So yeah, show us what you have.
Absolutely. So this would be just our solid middle class homes here in Post Falls area, which is about 10 minutes from Coeur d'Alene. It kind of all just kind of goes along together, if you will. But This is just something, and of course, snow. This was just shot last week. So this is just a good, solid middle class house, about 2,000 square feet. It's going to get you about 515,000 at that price range. You're going to most likely want to do new flooring, something of that nature. But this is just a good little neighborhood. A lot of our neighborhoods have city parks in the middle, like just communities, like a master plan community, if you will. Some great parks, some great walking trails. But this
house looks great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This is not that different from what we would see in our suburbs to some degree. You know, I would dare say it's even maybe a little bit bigger than what you might get for your money. So, you know, yeah, if somebody wants to, you know, change hardwoods or upgrade countertops, things like that, but it's a nice house.
A good solid bones, if you will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Smaller, something that was really popular up here. You'll find a little bit smaller yards, but something that people really want, you'll either have because it snows all the time, you'll have like RV access on the side of your lot. And some of them have shops, just because it's so dang cold. People like to go out in the shop. They can store their boat, they can store their RV, or for goodness sakes, it's just a great man cave in the middle of winter. So that's something that's really, really popular. So
that's really interesting here to hear that's yeah, funny. We don't do that here. At least, I mean,
great option. It's a great option.
But there is a garage. Oh, people actually, okay. So here's a tip in New England. People don't put their cars in their garages. Like sometimes, but a lot of people don't. They just use it for storage. So I was just about to say, where are they? Where are they parking their car?
So shops are super popular for not only storage, but for like RVs. Everybody up here also has toys. So like razors or ATVs or boats or motorcycles, or it's mostly like outdoor type things. Also, snow biking is a big deal out here. So in their toys, they need a place to store all of that.
Got it.
In the shop, it really allows them to keep it all in one place without having to pay for a storage unit every single month. So
yeah, I love it. Okay, then that makes sense, because then they're using the garage for those things to some degree. Yes. This house looks great.
Yeah, so this is another really wonderful like master plan community right here in Coeur d'Alene. It's about 10 minutes from city center. This is Coeur d'Alene Place. This one's at $599. That's going to be about your average price in that particular area. They have schools, again, the community parks right in the center. It's kind of like the park is in the middle, and then all of the houses go out from around there, like in a circle. And they have wonderful walking trails all around it. And it's just a really great place. When we moved to the area, that's where we first were, and we loved it. So.
And when was this built? About this
so
house?
These are built, I want to say early 2000s.
Okay.
Have about a range. But yeah, these are just good, solid houses here. You're looking at about 4 bedrooms, and anywhere from they have smaller homes, but I would say your average is about 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, depending upon, they have a couple of different floor plans. But this is going to get you obviously just a good, solid move-in ready house for 600,000.
Beautiful. Yeah, really nice.
Be done. Lot sizes are also just a little bit bigger in Coeur d'Alene Place. They made that so that you're not feeling like, you know, you can pass an onion to your neighbors through the window. You know, but yeah, great, solid, just a good, solid middle class house that's right in town too. So
yeah, this is great. This is beautiful. You know, one of the things I didn't prep you for this question, but I'm going to give it to you off the hook in terms of new construction. So like here where we are, unless you're tearing something down, you're not getting something newly built, and which is obviously, I'm sure, much different from where you are, where you have land to spread out, you have room to build. So talk a little bit about that.
So absolutely. So I'll just kind of walk you through the different areas. So Coeur d'Alene is obviously like our city center, which everybody recognizes the name. We have between Coeur d'Alene Lake and also Hayden Lake, which is a little bit north of us, you are going to have the prairie. Right now, that is being completely developed with brand new houses. And when I say track houses, it's what you immediately imagine is your cookie cutter house that's about 2,000 square feet. You're looking anywhere from about 450 to 600,000 for these. Your lot sizes are about 1/10 of an acre, if you will. Super standard. But the crazy thing is there are waiting lists to even have your contracts accepted. And so that's something that's really tricky for people that need to move in right away. That's not your best option. Resale
Okay.
is your best option for
Yeah.
sure. The waiting
Yeah.
list is just so long right now. They can't
Yeah.
keep up.
Right. And, and certainly, I'm sure folks have seen that on the news, and the builders are, they need employees, they need laborers, they need materials, right? So obviously building can be difficult, but I think just the concept that you could have something built is very different than our market here, which, I like to point out to folks, because if you do want something new, and, we have a lot of our homes here are many, many, many years old, because we started, the country started up in this area. So I think, there is definitely a fascination with getting something new. Even a home like this that is 20 years old ish. I mean, that's brand new to us.
No, and I can totally see that. Well, what's something that's really interesting as well up here, if you want to go all out and get a custom home where you actually are working directly with the builder, you buy the raw land and then, develop it, you're at least 2 years out just because of demand right now as well. So,
okay. Yeah, that's good to know for anyone considering making a move. You have to plan to either rent for a few years, or just whenever, if you're thinking of an exit strategy or retirement plan, start to have some of those conversations now. And I try to always encourage that with anybody that I meet, because I don't care if you're retiring next month or in 5 years. It's time to start talking about that plan and what does your exit strategy look like, so that not only can you take advantage of the market conditions here and get as much money for if you're selling, and then having time to plan on the other end. I think a lot of people, you don't want to be in the situation where you're making decisions under duress, right? Like, you want to have time to plan and get what you want if you can, which I think is amazing.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about, so you mentioned the weather.
Yes.
Talk a little bit more about that, because I'm curious, like, how different it is maybe from here, or like what's your experience with the weather in terms of summer, the seasons, the fall, the winter.
So the one fabulous thing about North Idaho, we have 4 very distinct seasons. So winter is going to be our longest season. I would say it gets really chilly end of November. And then that pretty much lasts. We get our first snow typically. Do you want me to, here we go, I'll stop share.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. So we end of November, it gets super chilly. We get our first snow typically in December. And then there's going to be off and on snow all the way until about March. The one thing that I always tell my folks that are moving from sunny areas, we have a lot of gray days up here where, if you're thinking maybe like Park City, where you have like a snowstorm and then you have bright blue skies, typically we don't get that. Typically we have like snow and then you see like patchy blue skies. So that's something that the gray and the winters last a little bit longer. So I would say end of November until March. However, our spring season is gorgeous, bright blue skies, puffy clouds, the whole 9 yards. It's a little bit chilly, but it probably lasts about 2 months. Summers are what everybody falls in love with up here. Like, everybody comes for 4th of July and just wants to buy a house. So, the winters are long and dark. It gets dark at about 4 o'clock, 4:15. In the summers, though, it gets light at 5 a.m. and at 9:30, that's when it's just finally getting dark. So it's a really wonderful summer season up here. Gets warm probably about the end of June. That lasts until about September. And then falls are also to die for. Like, I say that every season's my favorite up here, just because one is just so spectacular. But we have wonderful fall days. Again, very similar climate to the springs, but we do have great foliage up here. And I know that you guys can relate to that too, where
we do.
Trees just light up like every shade of yellow and red and orange, and it's just stunning. So I have to say that the 4 distinct seasons is something that I think that a lot of people just fall in love with when they actually get to experience that. Because if you come from, let's say, like Southern California, yes, it's wonderful where you have 70-degree weather 365 days, but you don't really get the distinct seasons. And up here, we definitely have that treat.
Yeah. And definitely, I hear that a lot from my clients if they're thinking about making a move, is we like the seasons, and we're very seasonal here too, right? I would bet that your springs are probably nicer than ours, but but yeah, I mean, and that could be important to somebody when they're thinking about making a decision on where to move to, and having that seasonality. It can be important, and I know I enjoy it, so I don't. And it would be hard pressed to go somewhere that misses some of
Does it,
that.
right?
Yeah.
It's something too, just as a side note, that I usually tell my buyers when they're coming in from out of state, like, hey, if you're used to sunshine, just plan a 2-week getaway, maybe January, just some
Right.
to see the sun, and then you get your fix to last you till the end of March. So
That's exactly what we do here too. So. All
absolutely.
right. Well, let's see. I'm looking at my list. I feel like we covered most. I
Yeah.
mean, what are any other nuggets that we need to know about Coeur d'Alene or Idaho or just anything in general?
So, no, I think the biggest thing here is everybody comes up here for the outdoor lifestyle. We have lots of hiking trails, biking trails. We have one of the longest bike trails here, 75 miles long. It's all paved. So we just have a really fantastic outdoor lifestyle where you can boat in the summer. We have the Ironman, which was that came through. Gosh, I think it was June or July of this year. So the outdoor lifestyle is something that really draws a lot of people up to this area. And that was one of the big things for us as well. So we love all of that. So
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Adriana, thank you as always for
thank
spending
you.
time with me today. And it was so great to see your face, of course, and spend
Right.
time with you, and, to help educate, folks that I know a little bit about Coeur d'Alene, about Idaho, and about your wonderful area to live. And yeah, I'm coming to visit. I cannot
Okay,
wait.
good.
Okay.
You have a good day. So
All
anyways,
right, awesome.
thank
Well,
you.
everybody, thank you so much for watching. And as always, until next time, I hope you love the way you live.